Hi there, this is Taylor Blodgett. I'm going to be talking about the article Reread Radical Pedagogy. Alright, so let's just kick this off. So this article talks about a lot of things that people may not be aware of or necessarily think about. For example, it talks about inattentiveness to positionality, which is seen a lot on social media, which would be like people saying like, I'm right, you're wrong, this is my argument, I don't really care what you have to say. Another point that is made in the article is that some opinions are made without being properly informed, and some of these opinions are, like an example would be, I always treat everyone the same, which I've heard a lot of people say, which they may not necessarily know what they're saying. And that's just the person stating that without putting forth effort to understand what people have gone through, which I think in our society that's really something that people need to do more. Like, we really need to connect with people more. And overall, I think the biggest overarching theme was calling out what people tend to do and showing them ways to understand things better and how to learn in respectful ways. So for me, I think guideline 3 is going to be the hardest for me to overcome as a teacher. And pretty much my whole life I felt pretty good about this, but I could always improve, would be seeing things from other people's points of view. And when I'm a teacher in a classroom, it's really important for me to understand where my students are coming from, and knowing that their experience is different than what my experience was. And an example of this would be last semester I took SPED 300, which meant I was at Kids First, and I learned things about some of the students there that really opened my eyes, and like I would never even fathom having to go through that or understand and process the things that they've had to deal with. So I think also I need to be careful with what I say to my students, and my language needs to reflect that I'm not being judgmental or critical. And by doing that, I can be as receptive as I can to my students, so that they know that I am there for them and that they feel comfortable talking to me. A strategy that I can use would be in the class would just be being open and transparent with all of my peers. And when they're talking, to not be judgmental about what they're saying, because they have a right to say what they want, and I need to be receptive and respectful about that. And a challenge that I'm going to have is being willing to be vulnerable around my peers, and know that they aren't going to judge me about what I'm saying. So yeah, I think that's going to be important, and I really need to be prepared with this class, because this is one of the more challenging courses that I'm taking, but it's also really interesting. So I think that this won't be too hard for me. So, yep, that's it. That's all I've got to say. So thanks so much.